Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Dream League Season 3 LAN Finals here at DreamHack Summer. With myself, ODPixel and Cinera, we're ready to get ourselves into Game 2 of the best of 3 between Ninjas in Pyjamas and Virtus.Pro. And well, Game 1 wasn't ideal for NIP. It was, VP just turning up to the tournament and playing like absolute madmen. It was crazy at the end of the day. VP were just outplaying Illidan's Weaver, was unstoppable. It is in the pool again. Do NIP, what do they do about that? Is there always the potential for VP to pick up the Weaver again, or do you think they might just do something different anyway?
I think if they're getting the Weaver, they're not getting it until 4th, 5th. It's one of those heroes that is really good in given situations, like that game where it was a great pick. But more than anything, what really made Virtus.Pro's draft come together was their support rotations, where they really excelled, especially Lil's Rubik, I think, was great, and they put a lot of faith. They have a lot of faith in him, apparently, so they're going to pick it the first phase this time. Last series, it was the 3rd pick. They're going to get it together with Gyro after NIP get Undying. So we said we wanted aggression out of NIP. We want to see them try to take an advantage in the early game and be the aggressors. This draft requires it. Now they forced themselves more or less into playing aggressively and taking the fight to VP. This is a good start. Undying Pugna.
And we've pretty much seen this kind of opening picks. I think Na'Vi did it, and also NIP. I think it was against Burden, I want to say.
Yes.
It was. They did it, and it worked. You know, what do you do against it? VP is a side going against what you can start to read pretty clearly what NIP are going to want to do. How do you draft against that at this stage, and what do you take away from NIP?
I think either... So when you play against a push lineup like this that pushes one lane, you have two options. Either you get a lineup that can actually fight into it, which is very, very difficult, but it is possible. Or you pick a lineup that has two really good split pushers, so every time they try to go for a tower, you either trade or you force them to at least rotate back after they take their first tower, so they don't get all the momentum in the game. Knowing VP, they'll probably go for their first option and actually try to fight into them. There are a small subset of heroes that are actually pretty good against Undying and Pugna. You're generally looking at something that initiates and bursts, but doesn't have very high mana costs. I think Centaur is one of the kind of heroes that can definitely do it with a Blink Dagger. You can get in, snipe someone, and get out with Stampede, if you will. And that's what it's all about. Like if you fight into a team that has these static, powerful abilities, I'm looking at Tombstone, Nether Ward, Shaman Wards, you can disengage entirely, and those abilities are on cooldown. You force the enemy team back, and if they proceed to try to fight, you run them over. So, Centaur, really, really nice solution from VP so far, and I'm expecting that VP has played against this strategy before, because Navi's run it in this tournament. I'm assuming they're scrimming against each other quite a bit, and it's not an unusual draft. I think a team like it might be Vici Gaming that have run Undying. It might not have been Undying Pugna, but then maybe Undying Tusk has been run by them. I remember Bone7 telling me about it and how it's ridiculously difficult to fight into. So I'm expecting VP to go into this with a very clear plan.
Okay, NIP, they take for the 3rd pick. They're going to pick Limp again, that Shadow Fiend, which I think that might be what they did again with the draft against Burden. You know, having that hero who's going to be able to get the mech online and able to contribute a lot to the mid-game pushes when kind of lined up with a Pugna and an Undying.
Yeah, it means that Pugna will probably not get the mech, so it might be a Necrobook we're looking at for probably Era on the Pugna. Necrobook is a great item for a couple of reasons this game. It's very good against Flat Cannon, because Gyro is likely to take the last will damage and lose a lot of health. And of course, Mana Burning Centaur is going to ruin his life. He is so mana dependent, and he has a very low pool to do it with. So if you get actually just one Mana Burn off with the ranged Necrobook on him, he can't cast both his spells. That's how bad it is. So.
Oh, talking about the Tusk, it's going to be VP picking this one up. We've seen it recently. It was at the Mars Dota League. A lot of teams liking this hero. It came out with a ridiculous, like 90% win rate in it was over 15 games, I believe it was picked up in it. It was ridiculous.
That's insanely high.
It was insanely high. When teams know what to do with this hero, they really know what to do. Now, VP, I'm trying to think, have we seen VP run it a lot? Do you recall any times VP's played it? I
don't think it's a go-to, because it's a go-to for like no teams, right? Until very recently.
And teams like Secret, they love it.
I don't think they've picked it that much, but I think it fits their playstyle really, really well. It's perfect for them. It's great for aggression. It's great for big team fight plays. It's one of those interesting hybrid heroes. I'm not sure if they're going to play it as support or as a core here. Probably support. It's one of those hybrid supports that can both be played very aggressively and very defensively. Snowball is a very high skill cap ability, and of course you've got Frozen Sigil, which provides a lot in both regards as well. I actually think they're getting it for the Sigil. It's for when these fights break out, NIP will struggle to chase, It'll be a good disengage tool, and
and they've got the Stampede.
and it's going to be like these chaotic, like it's going to be like these kind of. It's going to be really clustered fights, no matter what.
Now,
and then Sigil owns.
I mean, you talked about the Snowball being a high skill cap, and that, of course, is because of the potential to kind of mess things up for your team. And now the Disruptor picked up by NRP, that's really nice. You know, if you're able to find the setup and the Snowball's not coming in on you, you can lay down your skills as they roll into it. You've got to be careful as this Tusk not to lead your team into a very bad fight if the Disruptor's there.
That is true. It's also one of the best heroes for NIP, but once again, I'm worried for them that, you know, this game they have a different strat entirely where they want to push. So the aggression's definitely going to come out. But as far as the laning stage goes, I don't know if they're going to find a single pick. Like, again, they don't have these really good aggressive supports. Undying, when it comes to ganking, he's pretty bad. He's very, very good for lane dominance, so maybe they can get something out of that. But what have you got for ganking? You've got a Disruptor who can glimpse into Shadow Rays that's super situational at best. It can work. But you're looking at a Virtus.Pro squad who can roam a Rubik Tusk. That Shadow Fiend is going to have the worst mid lane experience of his life, where no one can really save him. So they need to be very, very careful, and I think this time around Limp will not have a very easy early game.
Oh, the final ban from NRP, that's going to be the Viper, and indeed VP. They're still looking really for G's hero here in the mid lane, and NRP themselves looking for their offlaner, and it's going to be the Lina picked up here.
Interesting, they're picking that into Pugner.
Okay.
That's their last choice. I was actually wondering if they were going to go for a Weaver again and just put the Gyro in. I think it could have definitely worked in this game. Another pretty good Weaver game. But they're going to go for playing the safe lane Gyro this time around, most likely on Illidan, and G on Lina. It is, of course, a very high impact hero. The really nice thing about the Lina here is that it's a good matchup. So instead of having a Gyro against Shadow Fiend mid, which I would say Shadow Fiend should win most cases, just, you know, you raise out the Gyro, you have superior range. This makes it even more volatile in the mid lane. If G gets one gank, he can own the Shadow Fiend alone. He hits a stun and he's dead. When Lina's level 6, she solos Shadow Fiend from full health. So dangerous stuff.
What do they go for now for Jonas and Fam? We've seen two heroes that would have been very nice, obviously being taken away. The Puck, the Axe, the Playmakers that we've seen Jonas and Fam do a lot of very successful things on. What do you pick against this? What do you pick to contribute to these early fights and early pushes that you're going to be looking for? And again, something that's not going to be easy for the side of VP to take down in these fights.
I'm thinking about his Legion Commander just for overwhelming odds.
Okay.
And of course for, it's not for the duel they would pick it. It would be for overwhelming odds and for the Dispel against these stuns that Virtus.Pro have. Maybe you can get an escape out of it. You have at least some sort of heal. I feel like that's still not going to cut it. Like, they need someone who actually contributes to dealing damage. There we go, Warlock.
Okay.
Very nice choice. Teamfight potential. Has a different heal. I'm looking for Jonas in this game to go for a Fatal Bonds build rather than Upheaval. I think they need the damage output from it. And then, even though Upheaval could also kind of be nice, it's super hard countered by Stampede. So I think Fatal Bonds is probably the better choice. And use the Chaotic Offering, of course, to great teamfight effect. This is a very nice idea from NIP. But work very well, could fall off entirely. Similar to the Phoenix last game, where to get a good landing stage. Let's see if they can do it.
Indeed, as we get ourselves into this game, Game 2 between Virtus.Pro and Ninjas in Pajamas. And let's get ourselves acquainted with the sides. On the side of NRP, it's going to be Hansken on his Undying Seal Kid. Of course, on the Disruptor, Jonas and Fam will be playing on that core Warlock. You're going to have Limp on his Shadow Fiend once again. And last, but of course, certainly not least, will be Era there on the Pugner. And I'm Eddie Pixar. I'm joined by Cinderin again for this one. And Cinderin, what are we seeing from VP this lineup?
We're looking at a G solo mid Lina. Should be very exciting to watch. We got Lil on Tusk. Had a great Rubik game last time around. Looking for some more high skill plays out of him. Of course, Tusk, very nice support to shine on for him. Illidan will be taking the Gyro after a strong Weaver performance. FNG this time around onto the Rubik. And finally, DK Phobos will be playing Centaur, which I think these are the kind of offlaners that DK Phobos likes to play the most. He likes playing the strength offlaners. We've seen him on Centaur, we've seen him on Shaker in the last game. He also plays, I believe, Tidehunter from time to time for Virtus, so should be a good hero-player combination all around. Great support for FNG as well, for that matter, the Rubik. Good roaming playmaking support for him.
G will be able to secure himself that top room. NRP simply just head down to the bottom. And in terms of positioning of the lanes, it looks like NRP, they're going to run it aggressive, and which is going to mean they're not going to go head-to-head with the lane of VP, because they're going to have Gyro and Rubik on the off lane, and that is going to leave the center down on the solo lane. So, I mean, lane-wise, who's getting what they wanted here?
I think VP. They'll be shutting down this Warlock very hard. It's actually a ridiculously difficult lane for Jonas. He can just get lifted into Rocket Barrage and die from almost full health, so he has to respect them very much. It's the same story for VP in the bottom lane with the Centaur, but I think there's less... They require less out of the Centaur than NIP do out of the Warlock for their game plan, and you see immediately NIP decide to rotate the Undying top to try to play 2-1-2, which I agree with. I think it's the right call. Now, what they need to be careful with is obviously their mid lane, where Limp is super scared right now. It's got 3 CS so far. Only one of them claimed with Necromaster. Actually, 0. All 3 of them were raises, so no base damage just yet. Could just get snowballed on at any point in time, and he'll just get destroyed.
Top lane, we're going to see Tusk position himself here with the rest of the lane of VP. And as you said, both Jonas and Fan, and Husky's going to have to be careful. And yeah, mid lane Shadow Fiend getting low, backing up, healing himself up to health. But at the moment, as you said, VP maybe getting the upper hand in terms of the lane positions. But let's see what NIP can do with this one, of course. This is a big game for them. Winning this will enable them to go through to that final deciding match. If they drop this, they'll be going down to play against Alliance in the losers bracket, which is a position that neither of these teams are going to want to find themselves in.
Absolutely. Already the mid lane, G dominating the Shadow Fiend. You can just tell that G doesn't care about the supports, right? He knows Undying is laning top, and he doesn't think that Disruptor can actually gank him because he's level 1, so there's no kill potential. So he's playing very high up on the enemy cliff, bullying out the Shadow Fiend. He's currently 11-6 against 4-0 on Limp, who fortunately for him at the very least finds a bounty rune, but he is struggling for farm. And I was about to say it's only going to get worse. I don't think that's the case. When Shadow Fiend hits level 5, he will be able to raise farm, but until then, he's got a very good grip on this lane. And in addition to that, the Centaur bottom actually doing very well for himself. Era's going to get jumped on, though. Good defensive TP from Sealkid. Will get the glimpse, but that is not the glimpse he was looking for. Actually, saving Lil. Very
might still find it here. I mean, they've got the Grip Fire. Era trying to move in with the blast, but actually the creep's blocking him up there. He's not going to be able to finish that one off, but at least there, the side of NIP, they don't lose anyone, and Era is able to keep himself alive with the help of Sealkid.
Yeah, I think Sealkid had to glimpse there, though. Or he didn't have to glimpse. He could have not cast it, but if he wanted to try for a glimpse, that would actually bring Tusk back into trouble. He would be outrun by the boots. Anyway, he was almost using it on max range already, so had to make the decision there. Tried for it, didn't get anything out of it. It's a similar start to last game where VP are aggressing on a lane. Defensive TPs from NIP. They reinforce their top lane with Undying. Now they TP Disruptor bottom. Nothing gained.
They're trying to contain the top lane as much as they can, as we saw them dropping the Tombstone. They're forcing back the side of VP, trying to find the space for Jonas and Fan to find the CS. And in terms of farm, Era is up there. He's on for 16 for 5 at the moment. And Jonas and Fan, he's finding a bit, but still Centaur and Gyro just with a slight edge. But it's early days and very close between these two sides. And with NIP's kind of lineup, if they are able to get the ball rolling and start to take the towers, it's going to be a very momentum-heavy game in the sense that VP are going to have quite a lot of trouble playing from behind. Kind of in a similar situation to how NIP were with their draft in Game 1, if it gets to that point.
Absolutely. It's all about NIP hitting their timing window. Get level 6 on Warlock, get level at least 7 on Pugna, so you have 4 Nether Blast, a couple of points in Nether Ward, and then you look to run down a lane and take a good fight. If you take a single bad fight where you get cleaned up, I think you almost just lose the game. But it's a similar situation for VP. If they try to take the fight and get run over, they lose not only their heroes, but definitely 1 or 2 towers in the process, and maybe even more. So very important team fight kind of game. But I think Virtus.Pro in this game will be looking to skirmish once again, where to try to spread the map out a little bit so NIP don't get to group up. The good news for NIP is that they haven't lost a hero in the first 4.5 minutes, so that kind of favors their game plan a bit more.
And Limp, they're actually opting to walk right back to base here, so this is going to have more space and time for this Lina, who, as you were saying earlier, is dominating this lane. 27 for 10 at the moment. G is having an absolute field day there in the mid. And well, bottom Sealkid looking for a bit of a wraparound, trying to get the damage onto Phobos here. He's got a point in return, so he's going to actually try and turn this one around. Lil moving in with a snowball. They're going to go on to Sealkid. They're going to find the Who Stomp as well. The blast is going to come out from Era, trying to do as much damage as he can in return, but it doesn't matter. They will get first blood there. Lil very nicely with the rotation on the Tusk, and well, that's the power of the Tusk there, just enabling to turn any lane into a very favourable skirmish.
And that's the crazy part. He's level 1. There are very few supports in the game that can do this with level 1. Oh, nice ice shards as well onto Era. That was a beautifully executed kill once again here from Lil. Getting a secondary.
I mean,
that's bad news to me.
Yeah, and these are big kills for Lil, because as you said, he's got to be sitting around mid. He's remained at level 1 for a long time at this game, so getting those kills as well, it's going to get him onto the board, and 2-0 at the moment for the side of VP. I mean, at what point in the game can we kind of expect to see NIP group up and start to push down the towers? Is it going to be once certain heroes hit 6? Is it going to be once the Shadow Fiend gets his mechanism? I mean, what's the game plan in terms of kind of, you know, targets in terms of the timings?
So that's a really good point, because Shadow Fiend's mech is going to be later than usual, and it's a part of their strategy that they really want to use, I think, that was the timing window they would initially be looking for, is Shadow Fiend mech, Warlock 6, Pugna 7. And all of those things can actually come together at around minute 9 to 10. Oh, Illidan gets blown up.
That's a big kill there, bringing down Illidan there with the ult to Crepify, and the amount of damage flying through there with the
Soul
3
Rip
points
with the
in the
Crepify,
curse, yeah, and the Soul Rip as well, yeah.
That hurts hell of a lot. Yeah.
That's
There's one kill for Nip that they desperately need now.
To get onto the tower here, and with the Nether Blast as well. Once the tower is open, it's gonna fall pretty quickly. G, of course, level 7, meaning Lim's gonna have to be very careful where he goes. Now with this Snowball coming in, they've got Laguna Blade as well. This could be a bit of a tricky position for Lim to be in, but no, he's gonna find himself on the right side of the ice shards. He's gonna be okay. G, they've got the Stampede here to get themselves back out, and here we're talking about the strength of the Centaur, just allowing any kind of bad engagement to be rectified in the sense that you say, okay, let's back up and wait until we try for that again.
It's good for NIP they don't lose a single hero there and force out a Stampede. That's something at the very least. So, where were we? You were talking about NIP's timing. I think they have to concede the mech for the push. I think if they wait for the mech, they're waiting too long. Either they get it, unless they get it maybe on Pugna, and he gets it a little bit earlier. Shadow Fiend is finding a bit of comeback farm, but Limp is very far behind the Lina right now, so they might have to just go for it without mech, where Pugna hits level 7 and Warlock 6, and they go with that, hope for a good fight, get a good tombstone, and try to snowball a little bit off that, but it's going to be very, very difficult. Lil.
He's trying to trap Jonas and fan out, but again, the ice shards just falling short, pushing.
That looked really weird, actually, that he didn't get caught in those. Maybe they're the new power cogs 2.0 with just roll the dice for whether heroes get into them or not. Seems a little strange at times, the interaction with that when heroes are moving and you cast power cogs and ice shards, whether they get in or not.
Yeah, now it seems to move Jonas and Fan down to the bottom lane, so they feel that this is the safer place for him to be. They now have the Tricore here up at the top. Error being backed up by both Hansken and Sealkid, so they're ready if anyone from VP decides to come out for a fight, but VP themselves just kind of focusing towards the mid lane, and they really want to try and find some action here, and ideally onto a hero and players such as Limp if he comes down into the mid lane, and he's not going to be doing that anytime soon, as G here with the double damage and the Laguna Blade ready and waiting. They're going to need more than just a +1 if they want to do something to jump onto VP here, and they're closing in on 6 on Jonas and Fan, so when he's got the golems, maybe that's going to be the potential go time for NIP, and they can look to try and take a fight against VP.
The golem is necessary. Here we go. He's getting it now. The ice shards, I believe, did not see this coming. If it did, that's really unfortunate for NIP if their smoke gank fails because of it. Maybe it actually did. Sealkid canceling a TP. Still does not have boots at minute 9. The supports of NIP really feel so starved with not much accomplished just yet. Oh. We're starting to hit that sweet spot now for NIP, when stuff needs to happen. Era's got level 7, got level 6 on the Warlock. What are they going to do? It looks like Warlock is getting a Midas, by the way. I really don't agree with that in this case. It's a great item on Warlock in a lot of cases. You want to get up to level 11 and 16 as fast as possible. You want to get the Aghanim Scepter farm with it so you can get into double golems. But I think buying Midas and going for, you know, stalling out the game a little bit and playing more of a farm-oriented timing is it's not going to help. It is, of course, great should they win a fight, that then he's going to be further ahead than he would be else, but I think a core item on Warlock could actually be very needed for them to win the fight in the first place. You know, he could have also been a mech carrier. And at the moment, they have none. They don't have a single hero who's aiming to build a mech as it looks. I don't know about this Midas build-up. It's treated to me.
It's kind of like they want to fight as well. I mean, all 5 heroes to the side of NIP towards the top. VP, they've got all 4. They're leaving the mid lane here for G, as G's just going to continue to take the farm. very happily, and they've got the Stampede at the ready here, VP. Do they want to try and jump into this? Telekinesis on Terra. Looks like they might want to go. The Golem is going to get dropped onto Phobos. Can NIP turn this one? Era's getting low. He's going to be able to keep himself alive here with the Soul Rip coming in from Hanscan. But now Laguna Blade onto Limp. That's going to be the first death. The cooldown finishing off Hanscan. 2 for nothing, 2 for 1. Let's make that as NIP are able to find Phobos off the back of that fight, but still losing Limp and Hanscan as well in the trade.
Yeah, that's not enough for NIP unless they get this tower. They use Chaotic Offering for it. Era has half mana, so he can use like 3 or 4 Nether Blasts. Maybe they get this tower right now. That would definitely be a start with a well-timed Glyph. And Dragon Slave should probably stop this together with the Flat Cannon. And this is I mean, it's one thing you lose a fight 2 for 1, right? In most games, you're like, okay, it's a lost fight, not the biggest of deals. Every single fight for NIP with this draft is incredibly important, and this is not enough for them. VP are going to be very happy with that exchange. They buy themselves 2 to 3 minutes more farm. Possibly DK Phobos will have a blink next fight then, and then they can use Snowball differently. You just see NIP, they're not getting in. G even picking up an 11-minute Yules.
Indeed,
very good.
So 4 for 2 at the moment. Net worth at the moment favouring the side of VP. They've got the 2 top at the moment. And is NIP just falling behind slightly in terms of the support's value. But I mean, they are able to get the push on, take a couple of towers. There's going to be a lot of gold at this point into their bank. But I mean, game plan, as you said, NIP, do they continue to need to look for the tower? I mean, do they have any kind of window in which they can hang back, or have they just really got to step up the pressure?
They got to step up the pressure. I don't think their draft is really one-dimensional. It's what it was built to do exactly this. They haven't executed it well enough and got pressured too much in the lane, so you have no plan B, really.
Oh, Lena's going to find Limp here in the jungle, and she's just going to go straight in Laguna Blade as well, bringing Limp low. He's going to be able to keep himself alive here, but Stampy's going to be popped. Lil's going to make himself known as he goes in with a final punch, and at the same time, Illidan's just cleaning up in the mid lane, found himself a double kill. Jonas and Fam might be able to find the return kill here, and he will do indeed. But again, it's another trade that, if they get this as well, it's really, really not going to be favouring NIP. Make that a 4 for 1 as Lil comes in to secure the double kill. And again, VP just outplaying NIP.
Illidan even, I believe, got the mid tower, or at least it fell. So that's a 4 for 1 with a tower claim for VP.
They might find more, and they will.
Oh my.
That's the entire lineup of NIP going down within a minute.
They're just styling over NIP in this game. This is not even close. You know, it's very early into the game. It's 13 minutes in. But if this kind of lineup that NIP is running is 7k gold behind at this point, their chance of coming back is so extremely small, especially when they don't have any teamfight items yet. They don't have the mech, they don't have an Axe on Warlock or anything like that. They don't even have level 6 Disruptor yet, which is a key teamfight ability for them.
Look how active G is. As soon as the Laguna Blaze, it literally has just come off cooldown, and he's going to use, he doesn't even need to use it here with Phobos setting up with the Stomp. They'll find Limp again. G, he hasn't got the mana here for the Laguna Blade. Now he's going to get caught out by the Glimpse. The question is, can they bring him down? They're going to drop the Golem for this one. They really want to find G, but now Illidan turning up with the cooldown and the Flat Cannon, bringing everyone on NLP low. 3 down. It looks like it might be 4 as well, as Jonas and Fan will fall. Double kill for Phobos, double kill for Illidan. 13-3. Again, this is not great for NIP. VP are they're destroying them.
You know, you don't want to say it, but this game is like almost mega over. Minute 14. The only, okay, so the only thing NIP can really do right now is, you know, it's not what they wanted to do, and I said they absolutely have to keep the pressure up, but I think at this point they have no choice. They have to farm the mech.
Yes.
They need to wait for it. They need to heal. So the fact that this mech from Limp is so delayed, he's currently 0-3-0 with fairly low farm for Shadow Fiend minute 14, sitting on 65.
Oh, if they can get Illidan here.
That's something.
Yeah, they're going to catch him out with the crab. They're going to start stuff, but DK Phobos, he gets the Who Stomp onto 2 now. Era's going to get brought down by the double edge, and he's got a full cooldown onto the remainder of NIP. Snowball straight through. 3 down. Hansken and Jonas and Fans, the only ones to survive. And just the amount of gold and XP now flowing towards the side of VP, it's just so much, and NIP, they're falling behind drastically here.
Yeah, so Shadow Fiend has to find his mech, which is not happening when he keeps getting ganked like this, and it's just really difficult because they have very little map control. VP are just controlling the map very well, playing super aggressively, and the Shadow Fiend has no tools to deal with this kind of a burst lineup coming in on him. if he finds the mech, if Warlock finds an Ags, and they get a successful team fight, they're going to get a big bag of gold, but it's so many ifs. And until they even have that possibility, they're easily going to lose another 5 or 10 heroes just to the roaming of VP, because in order to find those items, they have to farm, and there's nowhere to farm.
Oh gee, he's got an invis written. He might just find a kill with this, moving in close to Jonas and Fan. Can he get the Yules off? Yes, he can indeed. He's got the Laguna Blade for this one. He doesn't even need the backup of his team with the punches. A call-out's going to come through to secure the kill, making it a double kill for Illidan as they find the Disruptor as well. And again, that feels like just the umpteenth fight where VP have found everything and NIP find nothing in return.
Absolutely. There really isn't much to say apart from VP are looking super hot in this series. Both Game 1 and Game 2 dominating early aggression, and NIP do not have the answers for it in either of the games. Assuming that VP win this game, which looks like is definitely going to be the case, I feel like they're the team that has looked the absolute strongest by quite a margin. Even though Na'Vi have looked really, really good against Alliance, I think VP are just that extra, they have that extra step of execution and early aggression.
He's going to walk into, Illidan's got a haste, he's just going to chase this one down. He's going to get forced back by Era here. Limp's going to live this time. Yeah, Illidan deciding against diving that deep.
Here goes the top tower. VP are not giving them space to breathe. It's actually really beautiful to see how it's like, I don't think there has been, after the early game where not much happened for the first 5 minutes, there hasn't been 30 seconds without VP engaging somewhere. And almost every single time has resulted in a kill or two. So NIP never get the feeling that they get their ultimates back for the next fight, because the next fight is coming so soon that they don't even get time for their cooldown to come back. There you go. Nether Blast going to be stolen for FNG, going to help nicely with the push.
And worth noting so far in a game with 18 kills for VP, Rubik's not been involved in any. See, not a single kill, not a single death, and not a single assist. So they've not even needed FNG. It's
yeah, oh, wow, that's true. I actually can't believe it.
It's quite something that Jonas and Fan, he's lucky to get himself away that does TP out in the tree line, but
18 kills and your Rubik hasn't been involved. What?
Yeah. FNG's
no one has ever done that in the history of Dota.
Well, Glimmer Cape now on your Tusk. What's the difference looking like in terms of net worth? If the crowd might want to cover their eyes here, because not pretty, not pretty.
It's about 1,000 gold per minute lead for VP here.
And Limp, there's a missile closing in on him. G's just going to look for him in the jungle, and well, I don't know if there's any way this guy gets out of this one, and no, Limp is going to get taken down. Unstoppable kill streak now for Illidan, and just the individual hero's value as well. This is really quite something from VP, and I mean, as you said, they're proving that they are definitely ones to watch going into this tournament, and as it's going to proceed. But this, of course, you know, it's not over yet. Maybe NIP can find the big turnaround. Warlock, how's he doing towards his Aghanims? He's working towards it, of course, with that Midas. He's getting closer and closer, but Era just getting caught out in the mid lane. Phobos with that one, and not talking about the Warlock himself. FNG and Lil have found it. Slowing him down with the Warwish Punch. They're going to lift him up. He's going to get a chance to throw down the golem. Yes, he is. Maybe they can try and test one around, but Lily's got a Glimmer Cape. They don't have detection. Lil's going to be able to keep himself alive, and now with the Snowball picking up FNG.
Wow,
he doesn't want this Rubik to die.
Play.
FNG might still fall, though. He's been trapped at the tree line here. They will bring down the Rubik, but they've already lost two, and Illidan just on the back lines cleaning up. Phobos getting the Who's Stomp on the double edge onto Limp, controlling the Shadow Fiend. He'll go down as well as Jonas and Fan. Triple kill for Illidan, killing spree for G. They are literally all dead. GG is called 19 minutes into the game, 24 for 4. VP are looking ridiculously good, Cinder, and able to stop NIP. And I mean, NIP, they're having quite a run this tournament. They were looking really strong against the teams we've seen them so far, but VP just turn up to the party and they say, guys, we're on another level.
The VP versus Na'Vi game